Welcome to Talk Oxford, the show which gets you talking. I'm Eve Ahmed. Today on Talk Oxford we ask, what's Oxfordshire doing right that's got it named as the most innovative part of the UK, beating old rivals Cambridge into second place? A new report says the M40 junction 8A to 10 has higher than average crashes, so could queuing traffic be part of the issue? And a decent day pay for a decent day's work, is that what we're getting in Britain? Well, joining me live in the studio tonight are Nigel Holt and John Mayo, who are both with Kirtlington Morris. Hi there.
Hi. Hello there.
John and Nigel, thank you for joining me. So let's start off by talking about everything we ever wanted to know about Kirtlington Morris. How did you both get involved? And I understand Morris has different styles or different sides?
Yep, absolutely. Morris has many different styles, and that's one of the attractions of Kirtlington Morris, is the fact that it is a different style to everybody else's. There are a lot of Morris sides in the country, in the region of 500, and a lot of them do the same styles of dance. So to the general public, they tend to look the same, which is sometimes quite exactly right. Kirtlington style is different to everybody else's, so it makes us quite unique in Morris circles.
And how is it different, John? Would I notice not being an aficionado?
Unless you watch a lot of Morris. As distinctive features of the style, it's very angular, lots of right angles.
Very big square arms, big square legs as well, which I won't demonstrate at the moment.
An unusual move called a hoggleback, which is lifting the leg up and swiveling it backwards. And
a certain amount of dancing backwards as well.
And a certain amount of backwards dancing, which is not seen in any other style that we know.
So when you all get together with, because you've had something called the Lamb Ale recently, when all the different, are they called
sides?
Sides, when they all get together.
Yes.
Are you pointed out as something that's unusual or unique?
We organise that weekend anyway, and we invite a number of sides to join us for the weekend. For instance, we had a total of 17 sides, including ourselves, over the weekend. So the idea is to get a good range of these different styles of Morris that I was telling you about.
And is there a prize? I mean, is it competitive?
No,
is it friendly competition?
Friendly rivalry, I'd say.
Absolutely, that's the idea. It used to be more than friendly rivalry. It used to be a fierce competition, and there would be fights way back in pre-Victorian times. It was very full of rivalry, largely because it was a method of begging.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, dancing was used as a method of entertaining the pub and the public and getting some money out of them.
But that's not why you do it.
Ales generally.
It is a little bit why we do it.
This is a bit involved.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's obviously a very sociable thing.
Extremely.
But has it got health benefits? Sounds very athletic.
It's aerobics for men with beer, really.
Yeah.
But not at the same time.
Preferably not, because you dance with beer, you're going to get it all over your whites. So no, but there's usually a beer within easy reach. Most Morris men you'll see will have a tankard, a pewter tankard, somewhere about his person, which can be filled with beer and carried about.
Yeah. And is it passed on from father to son?
Not in my case. But a lot of times it was. In fact, it was.
Still is.
Turn of the last century, it was going into decline, and Cecil Sharp and some others went around writing down the stories and the tunes, because there was no written evidence. It was literally passed down generation to generation, which probably counts for much of the variation in the styles. And a lot of that information was used there was a big revival of Morris sides in the 70s. 1970s, yeah.
Yeah, 1970s, yes. That's when the big revival happened.
Somebody popularise it?
Yes, I think folk became trendy.
Oh, right, yeah.
Maybe the baby
Morris is part of folk, really, folk tradition, and it became a trendy sort of thing to do.
Yeah.
Like the bands like Fairport Convention rose to fame, and other things like that. You were asking about passing it down in the family. There are villages which are still able to do that. Bampton is a very good example. There are actually 3 Morris sides in Bampton in Oxfordshire, and where they can, they do pass the tradition down from father to son.
So there's not a worry about it dying out then?
There's always a worry about it dying out. The villages like Bampton seem to be able to support three sides, whereas Kirtlington actually struggles to support one.
We do.
We've got one lad in the side, aged 13. Apart from that, the average age is...
Well, he's brought the average down considerably.
Yeah, he's 13. The rest of us, I think, nearly all of us are over 60.
But surely one way to make it continue is to get women in.
There are women's sides,
yes.
but our side
mixed
is a male
sides.
side.
No?
Yeah, we're not anti-women dancing, as some people are. The problem is that ours is a men's side. The style of dancing we do, I mentioned those big angular movements, to use an old-fashioned phrase, are not ladylike.
Yeah.
So
Not
although
everybody wants to be
women don't
ladylike,
want to
though.
do our style of dancing.
But there are plenty of ladies' sides.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they dance both Cotswold style and border style, Northwest, rapper, all the different styles.
Rapper, not as in rapper as we
Not as in
understand
what
it.
we
No,
will
no.
call rapper, is a rapper sword.
Rapper is another different, totally different style of dancing. It's
Is it spelt the same way?
Yes.
with an R, yes.
All right.
That style of dancing, in fact, comes from the north-east of England, and it's danced with flexible swords
Wow.
with a handle at each end. They're called swords, they're
Yeah.
not really swords, they're strips of flexible steel. Danced with a team of 5 people, could be women, men, or mixed. And everybody is linked to everybody else, and they do the most amazing shapes and figures while everybody's still holding onto their swords and moving round, over, under, through arches.
Like tying knots.
And with somersaults,
Yeah.
all sorts of things. That is really exciting style of dancing, that is.
And John, you were telling me before that you sing as well, and I think you do.
I do
Nigel.
I do
sing.
too.
Are these two art forms inextricably linked?
Well, there is
Somehow.
singing associated with folk music, but the style of singing that Nigel and I are into is different. I joined a barbershop chorus in Banbury, Five Ways, about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's great fun, and it's being part of people that don't have a strong voice or don't feel they can be a solo singer will often shine in the choir because they're singing with a group. And Nigel sings with Oxford Harmony.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of guys on from Man Choir, and
I am
you
in
don't-
Man Choir.
and you don't have to read music.
You don't have to, but it helps. I mean, the whole point of it is it's a community choir, it's an inclusive choir, and all you've got to do is hopefully to be able to sing and to learn from somebody else who's demonstrating the song, the words, the notes, the style. So that's all you've got to do. Personally, if somebody gives the music, I find it a lot easier to learn it.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
How do you manage to fit this in, John, with work? It sounds very time-consuming. I mean, those dances
Yeah.
are quite intricate. You can't just pick them up,
rehearsals
you've got to
are once a
practice.
week, both for singing and for dancing. A couple of hours each week.
Yeah.
And then a lot of performances there.
Not as many as we would like, I think. We'd
Oh,
probably
right.
both say that, wouldn't we?
It's the same for
I
dancing,
certainly
really. There's
So
a
in fact,
season.
work gets in the way.
Well, I kind of work part-time now,
All right.
which gives me a little bit more flexibility and freedom.
I must admit that work doesn't get in the way at all for me because I've retired.
Okay.
Only recently, I mean, I did have to fit Tuesday night's Morris practice, Wednesday night Oxford Harmony practice, Thursday night Man Choir practice, plus working full time. That was quite hard work for both me and my wife.
The style of learning for barbershop is that you get your track on a CD or a MP3, and a lot of people listen to it in the car and learn it in the car. You can sing on your own or with the other parts.
Yeah. That is the best place to learn, actually. You get your learning tracks on a CD or whatever, plug it into your car, and you're in your own tiny little studio. You can sing your heart out as loud as you like.
Might look a bit
get
funny
it
to
wrong
do
if you
that.
have to. But learning in the car is definitely the best way to do it.
Well, talking of cars, we're going to move on to our first topic now. Well, I don't know, sort of our first topic, and that's about innovation. Oxford, apparently, is the most innovative place in the UK for research in new products and services, part of an arc of innovation from Gloucestershire, Oxfordshire, Milton Keynes, Peterborough, and it's due apparently to the research and design at both our universities and high-end manufacturing companies in the county. And it's also a welcoming, tolerant place, good universities and good transport links. Transport links?
Transport links.
Yeah.
Does that include the M40, presumably?
Well, Oxford's in the middle between Birmingham
It's
and
in
London.
the right place, isn't it? But
So you get a lot of commuters that go, the village I live in is quite often called a commuter town, and people will get in the cars and go either to London or to Birmingham, or locally. It's ideally situated in between those two, the first and the second largest city in England. Rail and road, I don't know. I think there's lots of... I think when the M40 was completed, the corridor was open between the two. The traffic levels have grown and grown and grown.
This is the problem we have now, which is why I was laughing about the M40, because, clearly between Oxford and Banbury, shall we say, the motorway is frequently completely overloaded, and the roads that feed it and take the traffic away are also completely overloaded. A victim of its own success maybe, but we have serious traffic problems from time to time.
But do you sense that it's the most innovative place in the country? As you
probably
walk
a little
around, do you feel
remote from that? As you walk around Oxford, it's a very old historical city, and not built for transport. And anybody who comes into Oxford and tries to park, for example, will know the problems. Which leads us on to the park and ride situation, the railway links.
Yeah.
I live the other side of Bicester, personally, and for me, the biggest problem for us that we see with the M40 is the amount of traffic that Bicester Village shoppers generate, especially on peak events like Black Friday and bank holidays. It's just solid all the way through.
Yeah, the whole place sees it up. I also live north of Oxford, in Bletchington, actually. And we are frequently affected by the same things. Just Friday afternoons, pretty much any Friday afternoon in the year.
Yeah, because I'm getting a different perspective on it now, because everybody I meet, when I say where I live, they say, "Oh, Bicester Village, I love it." This is Londoners.
And the Japanese.
The shops are brilliant,
Chinese.
but nobody ever talks about the transport issues because they're Londoners. So whereas you get it on a much local level.
There's actually a
the
Facebook
knock-on
page
effect.
with 3,700 people that have joined that page to complain about the traffic issues. And
Really?
people can't get out of their own houses in Bicester, especially Christmas. People come and park because they can't get into the park parking.
And Bicester Village continues to expand. They're clearly doing very good trade. And in that situation, one would expand, and that's exactly what they're doing.
But don't they take on board that they have to be good neighbours?
Yes, they do. I think they've been a bit slow to the table, but they're making some big changes now. But leading up to that, it was very difficult.
It has been very bad recently. What John's probably talking about now is the fact that the new rail link.
Oh, yeah. Is that going to make things better?
Well, it is hopefully going to make things better. That's what everybody is hoping, because one of the stations in Bicester is now going to be designated Bicester Village Station.
Another moot point, yes.
Yes, well, exactly.
Bicester
The
Town
I read there was
Yeah. They're
protest
changing
about that.
changing it, and they're going to feed that with a new line from Oxford, and indeed from London, from Marylebone in London.
Do you ever shop there?
Occasionally. I
Yeah.
normally go late, though.
I go early, and do I shop there about once a year? Yeah, literally
Yes.
once a year. First thing.
Yes.
Don't go during the middle of the day. I think it opens 9:30. Go there first thing.
I think
or forget it.
Black Friday last year was
What's Black Friday? Is that
well,
the
it's an
last
import.
Friday
It's the
before?
Thursday after Thanksgiving in the US,
Oh, okay.
and for the US, it's the start of their Christmas shopping. So all the stores on that Friday will open, big discounts, and it's the start of the Christmas shop, basically.
Yeah.
And we seem to have imported the idea over here, and the shops of Bicester Village were open till
Well, we're
midnight
gonna-
that day.
We're going to be talking about something allied to that after the break, slightly, well, leisure time, because it is time for a break now. But when we come back, we'll be talking about a topic that I happen to know is very close to my guests' hearts, and that's the closure of many village and town pubs, tide pubs, and also the rise of the microbrewery. So is this all part of a trend for more locally sourced produce? We want to hear your views too, so do get in touch with us by email at talk@that'soxford.com and via Twitter @that'soxfordtv, and you can find us on Facebook as well. And we'll see you shortly.